Before we begin, I want to welcome you to our channel. For those who are new here, our mission is to share genuine Christian testimonies from around the world, spreading the powerful message of God's kingdom. We focus on stories about Jesus, the afterlife, heaven and hell, and other Bible-related topics, bringing them to you in engaging story form twice or 3 times a week. We invite you to become a member of this family by subscribing to our channel. God bless you as you do so. Hi, my name is Asta. I want to talk to you today about an experience that I had a few days before graduation. We went to a senior class picnic just prior to graduation, and in that picnic event, I was swimming out to a raft by myself. I got cramps. I drowned. I died. I went into the light and then I came back again. First of all, the drowning process was not a fun process. It was horrible. It was painful. I was stuck at the bottom of the lake. I had aches and pains in every cell of my body. I didn't know what else to do. I was screaming internally for one breath of air. All I wanted was one breath of air, but I couldn't get it. And then a voice inside of my head said to me, Asta, called me Asta. It said, Asta, you need to rest just for a moment. I said to the voice, no, I don't think I want to rest. I have to get up for air. And in trying to get up, I found that I was stuck in mud. My hands were stuck in mud. I couldn't pull them out. I was imprisoned. And then the voice said to me again, Asta, you can continue the struggle, but do you want to rest for just one moment? And so I said to the voice, okay, all right, I'll give it a rest for just a minute, and then I'll continue. I let go, and as soon as the word go formed in my mind, I was pulled out of my body. And all of a sudden, I looked down and I could see my body stuck in the mud. But I'm in a body. I can feel it. No longer am I cold and freezing and stuck in the mud, but I'm warm, and I'm filled with a love and a peace that I cannot explain. I found myself in a place that was neither here nor there, an ethereal realm where time and space seemed to have no meaning. The environment was suffused with a soft, golden light that bathed everything in a warm, serene glow. I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, unlike anything I had ever experienced. It was in this tranquil setting that I had my first encounter with the beings. They were luminous entities, their forms made of pure light, yet somehow I could discern features that were both human and divine. These beings exuded in love and wisdom that instantly put me at ease, despite the otherworldliness of the situation. Among these radiant beings, one stood out above the rest. His presence was commanding yet gentle, his light brighter and more intense. As he approached, I felt a sense of reverence and awe. Though he did not speak in words, his message was clear and resonated deeply within my soul. I knew without a doubt that this was Jesus, the embodiment of divine love and compassion. Jesus' eyes, filled with infinite kindness and understanding, looked into mine, and in that moment, I felt all my fears and doubts melt away. He reached out, and though no physical touch occurred, I felt an immense transfer of warmth and reassurance. His presence communicated volumes, telling me that I was safe, that I was loved, and that I had a purpose yet to fulfill. He spoke to me, but not with words, and my soul could pick what he was saying. I understood that he spoke to me, letting me know that the years ahead are filled with chores, misunderstanding, and great destruction. His children must arm themselves with prayer to ensure they pray that only the will of God comes to pass. I then understand that the next 6 years will be a trial time for Christians all over the world. And he let me know that I have a duty to share this to the world. I felt a gentle pull. Suddenly, I was standing in the midst of a battlefield. The sky was darkened by smoke, and the air was thick with the acrid scent of burning debris. All around me, I saw soldiers from different eras and nations, their faces in pain and anguish. The ground beneath my feet was littered with the remnants of countless battles, broken weapons, torn uniforms, and the fallen bodies of those who had fought and died. The cries of the wounded and the dying echoed in my ears, a haunting chorus of human suffering. I could feel their pain as if it were my own, a deep, wrenching sorrow that seemed to have no end. It shifted, and I found myself moving through different times and places, each one a scene of conflict and destruction. From ancient wars fought with swords and shields to modern battles waged with tanks and guns, the devastation was the same. The toll of human lives lost, the grief of families torn apart, and the despair of communities left in ruins. I saw faces from every corner of the world, men, women, and children, all caught in the merciless grip of war. It was a relentless cycle of violence, each conflict feeding into the next, leaving nothing but death and desolation in its wake. The suffering was much, a heavy weight that pressed down on my heart. I felt tears streaming down my face, a silent witness to the endless tragedies unfolding before me. Jesus then spoke again. He spoke without words, his thoughts entering my mind with clarity and compassion. Man will prey on man until man will pray for man, he said. I understood that the vision was not just a depiction of the past and present, but a warning for the future. The scene shifted again, and I found myself standing on a high cliff, overlooking a vast expanse of water. The sky was dark and heavy with clouds, and the air was thick with the promise of a storm. Below me, the ocean surged and roared, its waves crashing against the shore with a terrifying force. I watched in horror as the water began to rise, swelling and spilling over the land. The vision moved swiftly, showing me floods engulfing cities and towns on different continents. In one moment, I was in a bustling city, watching as people scrambled to higher ground, their faces etched with fear. The water rose relentlessly, swallowing buildings, cars, and everything in its path. I could hear the desperate cries for help, the frantic calls of parents searching for their children, and the haunting silence that followed when the floodwaters claimed their victims. I was then transported to rural landscapes, where vast fields of crops were submerged under the relentless tide. The loss was not just of human life, but of the very sustenance that communities depended on. Livestock and wild animals alike were swept away, their bodies carried off into the abyss. The smell of death lingered in the air, a grim reminder of the destruction left in the flood's wake. Before I could fully grasp the magnitude of the devastation, the vision changed once more. I was now standing at the base of a towering volcano, its peak shrouded in smoke and ash. The ground trembled beneath my feet, and I watched in awe and terror as the volcano erupted with a deafening roar. Molten lava spewed forth, a river of fire that consumed everything in its path. Whole towns and villages were buried under the scorching flow, their inhabitants unable to escape the inferno. There will come a time when it will all happen at the same time. It will come during the era of man's greatest sins. Immediately he said this, the vision shifted once more, and I found myself standing on solid ground, surrounded by towering skyscrapers and bustling streets. It was a familiar sight, one of a thriving city, full of life and energy. But the calm was deceptive, a mere prelude to the chaos that was about to unfold. Without warning, the ground beneath me began to tremble. At first, it was a subtle vibration, barely noticeable. But within moments, it intensified, growing into a violent shaking that sent people and structures alike into a state of panic. I watched in horror as the earth cracked open, swallowing buildings whole and leaving gaping chasms in its wake. The sound was deafening, a cacophony of shattering glass, crumbling concrete, and the anguished cries of those caught in the destruction. The earthquake was relentless, its force ripping apart everything in its path. Skyscrapers that once stood as symbols of human achievement now toppled like fragile dominoes, reduced to piles of twisted metal and debris. As I moved through the vision, I was transported to different parts of the world, each scene more devastating than the last. In one moment, I was in a city in America, witnessing a massive quake that flattened entire neighborhoods. The ground heaved and buckled, sending cars careening off the road and people scrambling for cover. The magnitude of the destruction was almost incomprehensible. Throughout these visions, light remained by my side, his presence a constant amidst the chaos. His voice, calm and steady, broke through the noise and confusion. "There will not only be more of what you have seen," he said, "but there will come a time when it will all happen at the same time. It will come during the era of man's greatest sins." His words were a dire prophecy, a warning of a future where natural disasters would converge. As the vision continued, I was drawn to a particularly catastrophic scene. A massive earthquake in a place named Eureka. The ground split open with a force that shook the very foundations of the earth. Buildings collapsed in on themselves, and the landscape was forever altered. Amidst the devastation, there were signs of life. People were coming together. There will come a time when all of this will happen at once. It will be a time of great tribulation, but also of great opportunity. His message was clear, a call to action for all of humanity. He then unveiled to me the greed, arrogance, and indifference that has engulfed all of human history. Wars waged for power and wealth, leaving trails of devastation in their wake. Injustices perpetuated through generations, fueled by a thirst for dominance and control. The exploitation of the earth's resources, heedless of the consequences for future generations. Jesus said again, "Man will prey on man until man will pray for man." And during all of that process, I was there. I was now on the beach, and my friends were pushing the water out of my lungs. I was coughing the water out, and I was completely becoming conscious. And I was crying, and all of my classmates thought I was crying from the pain of drowning. But I was crying because I was no longer in the light. I was back in my body. I was back on earth. I wanted to be in the light. During this entire episode, from the moment I started sinking into the water and the mud, up until the moment I was coughing water out of my lungs on the beach, I lost consciousness. I wasn't aware of every microsecond of that time. Being in the light was being in unconditional love. Unconditional love means unconditional forgiveness. Unconditional forgiveness causes you to smile forever. Thank you for listening to this experience to the end. Kindly like and share this video, and if you are new to our channel, we ask you kindly subscribe to our channel to continue to get edifying content. Thank you.